question. Well, that won't be for me. Not at 3:30 in the morning.
Hello? Oh, hello. No trouble after that. Yes. Yes, thanks for asking. Yeah. Good night. I went to see someone. When I left, my car wouldn't start. I had to send for the AA. That's why I'm so late.
Well, how long did all that take?
Oh, about an hour or two, I suppose.
Well, otherwise you'd have been home at 1:30 or 2, I see.
I didn't know you'd be waiting to run a time and motion study. I'm going to make some coffee. Do you want some?
No, thank you. Were you with Julie?
Not in the way you mean.
If I wanted to make my meaning plainer, David, I would.
I had a rotten day. I didn't want them to find me. I knew they'd never think of Julie.
Who's they?
Edward and Brian. She gave me dinner, a couple of drinks. We sat and talked. And that's all.
Until this hour!
All right, check up on me. Well, ring her and find out. She won't be asleep yet. Phone her. Or do you want me to do it?
Like you to stop shouting at me, please. Brian phoned.
When?
Several times. He left a message, said it was urgent.
It means it's urgent to him.
What's it all about?
He's got a pet scheme which I sat on. He wanted to keep talking and I didn't.
David, we're married. I thought the forsaking all others bit meant no other women.
Other women? She's supposed to be your best friend.
Do you think I don't know about you and Julie?
There's nothing to know.
Before we were married?
When whom I saw was none of your business.
No, but it is now.
I have explained why I saw her tonight.
Oh, yes, and you've explained why you saw her while I was in Hamburg. It does seem very strange that every time I'm away, there's always some pressing reason why you have to see Julie.
I've got the correspondence in front of me, Mr. Rogers. Can I help you at all? I see, yes. No, he's around somewhere. Oh, hang on a minute.
Nobody's seen him. His car's not here.
Phone him at home, see what's happened. Hello, Mr. Rogers. I'm sorry about that, but apparently David slipped out of the office for a minute. Yes? I'll get him to phone you as soon as he gets back. Yeah. Goodbye.
Hello, Brian. No, I didn't go to Liverpool after all. It was cancelled. Yes, he is. Well, we did have rather a late night last night. Is it important? All right, hang on. David! You wanted?
A late night. No doubt he's sleeping it off.
What is it? Where are you going?
Studio.
Well, hang on a few minutes and I'll drive you. Hello? Hello, Brian. No, I'm taking the morning off.
It's all right, I'll get a taxi.
But, Jill, I want to talk to you.
There's nothing to talk about.
Jill! Look, if it's about that Dover business, we had that out yesterday.
David, you're needed here. But no, it can't wait. Mr. Rogers has been on the phone. He insists on talking to you. No, you can't call him from home. You'll need the file.
Well, can't Edward speak to him? I see. No. All right, soon as I can.
He's coming.
You are going to talk to him, Ted.
I'll do my best, Brian. Oh, Dave, come on in.
Morning.
Morning.
Rogers phoned. He wants you to call him back urgently. Here's the file. Sit down a minute first. Sit down.
What's this? Board meeting?
A discussion.
Subject being?
Dover.
I've nothing more to say on that.
Well, just listen then.
Better go and phone Rogers if it's urgent.
David, please. You can spare 2 minutes.
Well?
Let me recap now we've all slept on it. Brian has found a depot in Dover which he thinks is suitable on terms which he believes to be acceptable.
Well, I don't.
Now, whether the depot is as good as Brian thinks it is, we don't know. But Jenny and I feel that we ought to go and have a look at it.
There's no point.
We can go now and talk on the way.
Talk about what?
Dave, this is a business matter. Now, perhaps we didn't approach it very sensibly yesterday, and if that was my fault, I apologize. Now, we all respect how you feel, but this is too good an opportunity to let slip because of a minor disagreement.
It wasn't minor, Brian.
It's all right, but there has to be a solution that you'd find acceptable.
So I'm the one that's being difficult and obstructive.
I didn't say that.
What about you two?
Nobody's questioning your motives, David. Whether the depot's what we want, or whether we can afford it at present, I don't know yet. But we've had a favourable report from Brian, and I don't think we should ignore it.
And I'm not committed either. But I do agree that we ought to take the time out to look at it.
All we're asking is that you keep an open mind.
I wish you people would grasp the fact that I'm sometimes right. You talk about an open mind while you blandly consider spending money we haven't got if we're to release Jill's guarantee.
We feel if you could show some goodwill, we can find a compromise.
Can't find a compromise on a matter of principle.
No, we really are wasting our time.
Oh, now, just
Whenever I hear someone bleating about principle, I know that reason has flown out the window and prejudice has taken over.
Thank you. That seems to end the discussion.
Oh, for God's sake, don't you two start again. Look, all we're suggesting, Dave, is a trip to Dover and a quiet talk on the way. At the best, we can sort out some kind of solution. At the worst, we waste a few hours of our time.
Go and phone Rogers. Look, this is what keeps the wheels turning. It isn't pie in the sky.
Are you refusing?
I'd have thought that was crystal clear.
David, 3 of us think we should go. Don't you think you ought to take that into account?
The majority isn't always right, Jenny.
So however it's explained to you, you know better.
Yes, I do.
When were you given the right to tell other people what's best for them?
When other people choose to ignore the realities.
David, do you realize what you're doing? You're claiming a right to a veto, no matter what we say. You're telling us what we can and can't do.
Only in this case, Ted. Anything else, I abide by the majority decision. You know that. Look, I've declared my interest often enough. My wife is backing this company. It's her money you're talking about. And while we're under that obligation, you've no right to talk about new ventures.
So when you come right down to it, it's all on that kind of personal level. Forget the welfare of the company. You don't like feeling obliged to Jill.
If she'd put the money up another way, Brian, I could have had effective control of this company.
Over my dead body.
Well, that's that.
When you come down to it, Ted, he can't overrule us.
No, he's right about one thing, Brian. This is a special case. He speaks for Jill. He represents her interests. And anyway, if we allow factions to develop, we'll fall apart. We won't be able to work together.
The way to deal with factions, Ted, is to take a firm stand, and that's your job as chairman and managing director.
I'm doing just that, Brian, and I'm telling you no. We don't go ahead without David's consent.
Well, that's not taking a stand. That's allowing one difficult director to control you.
This is the way it begins, Jenny. I've seen it with other firms. You get 2 men acting like that and it can pull a company to pieces.
Hello, Anne, it's me. I want you to do something for me. Will you ring Jill and ask her around this evening? But no, not David. I want to talk to Jill by herself. I don't know how you manage that. Make some excuse. You want to talk about clothes, or you need tickets for a fashion show. You'll think of something.
Jill? Jill?
Diamond blast it!
I gather our respective husbands are at daggers drawn.
Well, I knew they'd had a disagreement, but I didn't know it was that bad.
Oh, I'm sure there's more sound than fury. Family quarrels are always the worst.
Or at any rate, the loudest. I suppose it's like marriage. You've got to be really close to somebody to be very angry with them.
Yes.
Ah, there's my half of the problem. Hello, darling.
Hello. Hello, Jill.
Hello.
I telephoned Jill to invite her round for drinks and a gossip. She said she could come because apparently David's working late tonight.
Well, he's got some kind of a meeting. I don't quite know what it is.
Yeah. Anyway, as she was spending the evening alone, I thought it might be rather nice if she spent the evening with us.
Well, that's if you don't mind, Brown.
Well, no, of course not. It's nice to see you. Well, can I talk you out?
Oh, not just now, thanks.
We've just been discussing your feud with David.
Oh, it's hardly that. It's more a difference of opinion. No, it does seem to got rather out of control.
What's the trouble?
Well, it concerns you in a way.
Me? How?
Expect David's discussed it with you. There's this project, depot in Dover. We all agree that we need it, but David's holding out against it.
Why, if you need it?
Well, because it would mean we couldn't release your guarantee for a while. Has he discussed it with you?
Not in detail.
Ah, well, it's a pity from the company's point of view, but of course it's your money. It does restrict you to have it tied up with us.
But I don't need it. We're both earning now. We've got enough without that money.
Well, David's rather concerned about it.
David seems to be much more worried about it than I am for some reason. I'm quite happy to extend the guarantee or whatever it is as long as you like.
Talking in strictly legal terms, Jill, I gather you don't remember the details of the original agreement.
Well, not everything, no.
Well, the guarantee you provided has no fixed period. It just runs on indefinitely until we release it or you give notice.
Of course, David could have been outvoted by the rest of you.
Well, he could have been, yes.
Well, why wasn't he?
Well, Ted feels that David has an overriding moral standing in the matter because he's representing your interests.
Well, obviously, David didn't realize how Jill felt about it.
No, apparently not.
Look, Bran, if it's for the good of the company, I mean, I don't want to hold you back. Is there anything I can do to help?
Oh, I am sorry.
What for?
Well, sitting here, not saying a word.
I don't mind.
I'm worried, Jenny. I've been trying to think.
I know.
You know, I get the feeling we're not running a company anymore, that everyone's jockeying for position. No, not you, but the others. I mean, something's happened to Brian. I don't know what, but he's different. Or am I imagining it?
No. I think so.
You've noticed it too.
Well, it's as though he's grown impatient. As though he wants to take the lead.
That's it, exactly. And David too. I thought I could drive a team, but when they start pulling in different ways, oh, I don't know.
Hello? Yes, hold on. It's Brian.
Hello, Brian.
You weren't at home. I thought you might be with Jenny. Look, I've got Jill here. She wants to talk to you. Yeah. Well, hang on. Here she is.
Hello, Edward.
Hello, Jill. How are you? Yes? Yes? Oh, that's very kind of you, but... No, that's true. Can I speak to Brian again? Brian, does she understand what she's saying? Yes, I know that. But how's David going to feel about it?
Well, she's going to talk to him. Yes, so he'll know. What I suggest is this. You and Jenny and Dave, of course, go down to Dover as soon as possible. There's no point in my going again.
Yes, but is there still time?
So I rang my contact in Dover. There's been some hitch with the discount stores people. What? Some alterations that need doing. The point is that we stand a good chance if we can make a decision within a few days.
I see. Yes. You have been busy, Brian. Yes? Yes, I'll discuss it with Jenny. Good night. Well, I expect you got most of that, Jenny. Jill is quite happy to go on backing us indefinitely. And Brian thinks that we can still get the depot in Dover.
Well, I suppose that's good.
Unless David thinks that everyone's gone behind his back.
David?
I do wish you wouldn't walk about when you're having breakfast. No, it's not good for you.
I've got things to do, Mother.
Well, it's early yet. You've plenty of time.
No, we're probably going to Dover today. Be back sometime, don't know when. Probably eating out.
Oh, I see. Oh, I was going to ask David and Jill to dine with us tomorrow night.
Oh, David's driving up to Leeds tomorrow.
Oh, well, perhaps next week could be better.
But since we're on the subject of invitations, Mother, there is someone I'd like you to ask to dinner sometime.
Well, of course, Edward. Who?
Jennifer Kingsley.
Invite Miss Kingsley here? Certainly not.
Will you invite Barbara?
That's different.
Would you make friends with the daughter, but you cold shoulder the mother? I'm sorry. That won't do.
Barbara may be your father's child, but she's done nothing wrong. I can feel an affection for her. But if I never see Miss Kingsley again, that will suit me very well.
I'm not really asking you, Mother. I'm telling you.
You disappoint me, Edward. I hoped you'd got over that preposterous infatuation.
It was never that. If you want to know what my feelings for her are, well, I don't think I could tell you anyway. But I know this, that ever I need anyone to talk to, if ever I need any help, then I turn to her. You could say she's a colleague who's become a friend, if you like.
I suppose she suggested this.
No, I don't suppose she'll want to come any more than you want to ask her.
Well, since it will suit neither of us, I suggest you drop the subject.
Mother, I'm sick and tired of trying to deal with two people that I'm fond of as though the other didn't exist. I think it's about time you both made a bit of an effort, and we can all behave like civilized human beings for a change.
What do you suggest we talk about at this dinner? Our mutual recollections of your father?
I don't give a damn what you talk about,
don't speak
so
to
long
me
as you
like
don't
that.
start digging up the past and looking at it every 5 minutes. Mother, this is my home as well as yours, and I want you to be courteous to my friend and fellow director. And what's more, I insist on it.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to Leeds tomorrow.
For the day?
Away a couple of nights, probably.
I'll pack your case.
Thank you.
You go by train?
By car. Leave about noon. Did you go anywhere special last night?
Anne asked me over for a drink.
Oh. How's she?
Fine. I had quite a long talk with Brown.
Oh, yes.
He was telling me about this depot in Dover. He seems to think it's a good idea.
I know.
Well, don't you agree?
In theory, it's fine. In practice, no.
Why not?
Because at this moment in time, we can't finance it.
Brown thinks it's possible.
Brian is very free with other people's money.
Whose?
Yours, mainly. It would mean retaining your guarantee for longer than necessary.
David, I wish you'd talk to me about this.
Why?
Because there seems to be a complete misunderstanding somewhere.
Jill, you put up all your money, close on £100,000, to guarantee our loans because we were up against it. All right, we needed it, and we're grateful. But the sooner we're not beholden to you in any way, the better.
Who for, David? Not me, because I don't care.
You don't understand the implications.
I don't want the firm to be hampered by any mistaken sense of obligation to me. As far as I'm concerned, you can have that money as long as you like. I've already told Brown I'm quite prepared to sign a guarantee for a fixed long-term period, if that would help.
How long did you have in mind? A lifetime?
David, if it's for the good of the company,
Look, Brian has taken you for a ride. Can't you see that? And how do you think I feel when we're using ex gratia money from my wife all the time?
Where did I get the idea that marriage was a partnership?
I want to be my own man, Jill. I don't want to be kept by you.
Or is it because of Julie? Would you rather be with her? Is that it?
Oh, for God's sake, don't drag that up
Because
as well.
if that's what it's all about, don't let that damn money stand in your way. Go to Julie. I know she wants you. She always has. And she's welcome if that's what you want.
Hello, Barbara. I wonder if you could do something for me. Well, I think I have to be out of town today, and I've got the decorators coming in at 5 to give me an estimate. Would you, darling? Thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Yes. Well, I'll tell Edward. He'll probably call you tomorrow. Thank you. Goodbye. The others are downstairs waiting for you.
I've seen him. I've told them I'm not going. You went behind my back, Brian. You had no business to talk to Jill.
It's her money. I wanted to find out how she felt.
You set out to use her.
She's not concerned. Why should you be?
All of a sudden, you seem to think you're running everything. Advertising agencies, depots, just because you say so. Well, you're not, Brian. You don't carry any more weight than I do.
Shut the front door.
Do you think she's got anything?
Oh, forgot. Hang on. What do you think it is, anyway?
There's a touch of indigestion, that's all.
I don't see how it can be. You don't drink, you don't smoke. Practically a vegetarian.
I know there's no justice, is there?
Anyway, you're in luck.
Thanks.
Perhaps you ought to go and see a doctor.
No, I get it from time to time, no reason.
Well, if you're not better by tomorrow morning.
I shall be. Don't worry, I'm all right.
Oh, that'll be the decorators. I was afraid they might have come earlier. What was that phone call about, anyway?
What phone call?
The one to your partner, Vince. The one that went on and on. The reason we had to rush to get here.
Oh, nothing.
Well, it must have been about something. You were talking for ages.
Business, you know. One or two things need sorting out. Nothing to worry about.
Well, I'm not worried. I thought you were.
No, it just means I've got to see a few people, that's all.
Coming! What things need sorting out, Johnny?
You better let him in.
I've asked for some tea.
Oh, good. Oh, hello, Sally. Is Mr. Brown there? I see. Well, as soon as he's finished, tell him that we're back and we'd like to see him. Thanks. He's on the phone. He'll be about 10 minutes.
Well, I'll see what's arrived on my desk.
No, hang on a minute, Jenny. There's something I want to say to you before we see Brian.
I thought we'd said it all on the way back.
No, not about Dover. Sit down, Jenny. My mother wants you to come to dinner one evening. She asked me to invite you. One evening that's convenient to us all.
Your mother suggested that.
Yes, well, it came up in conversation. Hello. Oh, hello, Barbara. Yes, she is. Hang on.
I'm sorry. I don't have a convenient evening. Hello, Barbara. Oh, good. Thank you, darling.
They said they'd put an estimate in the post. I just thought I'd ring and see if you got back yet. No, we won't be staying. We thought we'd go to the cinema. Yes, Mick. Yes, all right, I'll ring you. Bye. Come on, wake up.
I'm not asleep.
It's time we were going. Unless you'd rather not.
No, I'm all right now.
Right, up you get.
What's that perfume?
The one you bought me.
It's nice.
Good.
I love you, Barbara.
What brought that on?
Nothing, I just do. Always will, you know that, don't you?
Yes, I know. I love you too.
We'll be all right then, won't we? No matter what.
Yes. We'll be all right. Johnny, is something wrong?
No, I just ate something, that's all.
I don't mean that. I mean, you've been so quiet. As though something's bothering you.
Well, there is a problem. Not the end of the world, but Vince has let me down. I've got to raise some money fast. I'll manage it, mind, somehow.
How much money?
Quite a lot if we're going to get through. In fact, a hell of a lot.
Jenny, it's not easy for me the way things are. I'm the eldest son and I'm still living at home. Perhaps you've wondered why.
I always have.
Well, it's sheer inertia, I suppose, to some extent. But there were reasons. I was engaged once to be married. Engaged for a long time. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
I was. But nothing came of it. Why doesn't matter. She's married now with 2 children. But at the time, the bottom seemed to have fallen out of everything. Where I slept between one day and the next didn't seem to matter to me. And then Dad got ill and died, and Mother was on her own, and someone had to be with her. So I'm still there.
I expect you always will be.
Not necessarily. Time passes, situations evolve and change. Jenny, I think perhaps you and I rushed our fences. Tried to move too fast.
Forcing your mother to invite me to dinner won't solve anything.
Jenny, I want you to accept. I want you to lower your guard, just for once.
I'll take that.
Thank you. You in a hurry?
No, the hotel's booked. I'm not meeting Rogers till tomorrow morning.
How long before your train leaves?
About 20 minutes.
Where do you say you were going?
To spend a few days with my married sister.
Oh, yes.
You haven't exactly been hanging on my every word, have you?
No, I'm afraid not. Julie, the reason I phoned and asked you to meet me...
You mean it wasn't just the pleasure of my company?
I'm in a mess. I don't know what to do about it.
You could try the Citizens Advice Bureau.
Please, I'm not in the mood for that sort of criticism. It's Jill.
And then you should talk to Jill.
I can't. Outside food and the weather, we don't talk, we quarrel. The trip to Liverpool was cancelled. When I got home that night, she was sitting up, waiting.
You did?
I tried to explain, but she just won't listen to reason. She's got it firmly fixed in her head that I meet you every chance I get, and that we're having an affair. She even told me to go to you if that's what I wanted.
How embarrassing.
I thought if you talked to her, you know, made her see reason, explain that there's nothing in it.
Why should I do that? You came to me, remember? You stayed of your own free will. Don't expect me to bail you out just because your wife wasn't conveniently away after all.
Julie, will you please for once stop playing games?
I'm not playing games, David. I never have been. Jill isn't very clever, but her instincts are good. You do have something to sort out. One of these days, you're going to have to face up to it.
I'm trying to sort out my marriage.
Your marriage may be a mistake. Try looking at that one honestly. Thanks for the lift. See you one of these fine days.
You nearly ready?
I don't like being hurried, Brian.
Well, we're expected soon, that's all.
I was looking forward to a nice, quiet evening at home.
Well, Nick invited both of us.
And an invitation from Nicholas Fox can't be refused.
I want to talk to him anyway.
All right, but I don't have to live in his pocket as well.
There'll be 10 people there.
All talking advertising, no doubt.
Well, since one is a theatre critic and the other is an American journalist.
I didn't ask you to take a census down.
And if you're determined you're not going to enjoy yourself.
I just don't like to have things sprung on me at the last moment, that's all.
And there is a board meeting tomorrow about the Dover depot. The agency have been onto their continental people. I want to know if they can give me some ammunition. Now, you said you wanted to help me. Help me. Be sociable. And if I'm talking business to Tony Bromley or Nick...
You don't have to teach me how to behave like the perfect wife at a dinner party. Right. How do I look?
Beautiful, as always.
Well, darling, it takes just a little bit of work now and again. Now, if you want me to charm your business acquaintances, I'll do just that.
And the upshot is this. He says he's still uneasy about a lack of local facilities, but he's willing to give us a limited trial period and see how it works.
Good.
On condition that we cut our quotation by 5%. But he started by asking for 15. Frankly, it's now obvious he's been using the other firm from the beginning to try and force us to cut our price.
Less 5%.
That was the best I could do.
Brian?
Well, it's tight, extremely tight.
I said we'd have to consider it.
On the other hand, they're very big in the food industry, and maybe if we could satisfy them with this contract, we'd get the rest of their business in the end. It's a slight gamble, but I think it's worth it.
There's one proviso. Now, the whole thing depends on regular pickups on schedule. We must make certain we're not short of drivers. If we take it on, we can't afford to let them down.
Well, we're nearly up to strength now, as it is, Dave. And I'm interviewing some more men in the next few days. We'll have enough drivers.
Well, in that case, I agree with Brian. The possible spin-off benefits make it worthwhile.
Jenny, any queries?
No.
Right, we're agreed to revise the quotation. Right, the next item on the agenda is the question of the depot in Dover. Now, Jenny and I have seen the building, and we've talked to the owners. Jenny?
Well, there's very little to add to Brian's original report. The premises are excellent and will suit us very well. We're not likely to find anything better than that price range. There will be one additional expense.
What?
With the installation of toilet facilities, they expect us to pay for that.
How much?
I became aware of this when I spoke to them the other night. It shouldn't be outrageous, a few £100.
David, you're the only one who hasn't seen this place. Any questions on suitability?
I'd like to hear your opinion, Mr. Chairman.
As a lorry depot, I think it's first rate.
Then I accept that for any firm that can afford it, the premises are suitable.
Mr. Chairman, I have spoken to our bankers. The Dover people have carried out an inspection, and they are entirely happy to supply the necessary finance.
Would they be equally happy if we weren't supported by our present financial guarantees?
I'd like to put something on record, if I may. The guarantee referred to is by Mrs. David Hammond. Now, I have her personal assurance on 2 counts. First, there is no question of the guarantee being withdrawn. Second, she approves of the scheme under discussion and is agreeable...
How can she approve when she knows damn all about it?
And is agreeable to the guarantee being fixed for any term, short or long, that we think desirable. Any objections on the grounds of finance are therefore irrelevant. The only question is that of suitability, and on that we're agreed. Now, if we're discussing this dispassionately, the rest is a formality.
And not by a long way, Brian. The first question is desirability.
Ted, we've been all through
Look,
that.
I'm conducting this board meeting, Brian, if you don't mind. David, do you feel that we need a depot in Dover?
Yes, I've always made that plain, but not at this time.
David, I wish you'd go and look at it.
I don't have to. It's great, I believe you. But we can't take it on now because I don't think it's right or fair. And you know my reasons.
Brian says that we still have Jill's support. Is that correct?
Let me put something on record, Mr. Chairman. I consider that the approach made to Jill without my knowledge was underhand, to put it mildly.
Mr. Chairman, really?
No, let him...
I had a conversation which I reported, the accuracy of which he doesn't deny.
Brian, I don't want any more interruptions. Is that clear? I want to know how David feels.
I'm angry, mainly because of the way in which it was done. If Brian had set out to cause trouble between... Never mind that. No, he's right. Jill doesn't mind, but I mind very much.
All right, Dave, let's take one thing at a time. Do you agree in principle that we need a depot in Dover?
Yes.
And you accept the report that the building under consideration is suitable?
Yes.
And however you may feel about the way Jill was consulted, you accept that we still have her backing?
Yes.
Jill is an interested party. There's nothing wrong with the way she was consulted.
It's caused ill feeling and resentment.
That was not my intention. My one concern is the well-being of this company.
Do you wish to express regret in that case?
Well, if it's caused trouble...
All right. You have Brian's apologies. Is that correct?
If there's been some misunderstanding, yes, of course.
Right, now, Dave, what I want you to do now is to consider this strictly on its own merits and in the light of what's been said. Now, you've all read the proposal on the agenda.
Moved.
Seconded.
In favour? Right. Dave, I do think that we ought to be of one mind. I don't want a split vote. I want us all to agree.
I'm sure you do. Formally, our guarantor is willing to continue backing us. The reality is different. It never was a normal commercial arrangement. It was a personal favor, Brian's own words. Our guarantor is my wife. Now, that creates a very delicate situation. We can't behave like a normal trading company until we have no obligation to Jill. You've said what you want, Mr. Chairman. I'll tell you what I want. I'm going to vote against this. And I beg you to vote against it also. And then to use your chairman's casting vote to defeat the proposal. I'm not going to go over my arguments again. This is a personal appeal to you, Ted.
I want to explain to this board the course I intend to take. Now, I think that this situation is deplorable. I wanted it to be unanimous because it isn't just a difference of opinion. It's more than that. David is directly and personally involved. And those arguments in favor of doing nothing without his agreement are very strong indeed. Dave, you asked for my backing on a personal level. But in the end, it's got to be what's right for the company. And I must say that despite everything, I think that we need that depot in Dover, and I think that we need it now. Of course, I could abstain and let the motion be carried anyway, but I want to make my position clear. And so, with some reluctance, I agree to the proposal, which is carried by 3 votes to 1. Any other business? The meeting's closed.
Well, I think I'll go home early unless you need me for something.
No, you go.
It had to be done, Edward.
Pamela!
Hello. I didn't think there was anyone in. I telephoned.
Well, come in.
I can't stay long. I have a parents' meeting.
Well, sit down for a moment.
I phoned 3 or 4 times today. At lunchtime and during the breaks.
I haven't been in long.
I really wanted to talk to Anne.
Ah, well, she's visiting her parents. I see this is addressed to both of us. Shall I read it?
Well, I may as well tell you now. It's about Carol.
Carol?
She phoned me last night.
Why?
Some ridiculous question about French verbs. She was in a phone box.
Yes, there's one in the corridor. The girls use French verbs.
Well, I asked her why she didn't speak to her own teacher. She said her teacher was French and she couldn't understand what she said.
Well, really?
Well, it's not as amusing as all that.
No, I suppose, really, it's a great compliment to you.
Brian, I was at home. She hasn't got my home number. Think what the child had to do. Dial directory inquiries, find my number, dial again, use her pocket money. And why? For what reason? To talk to me, using what was an obvious and transparent excuse. She went to a lot of trouble to do that.
Well, what did she want to talk about?
Nothing much. School sports, film she'd seen, what she'd had for lunch. And she talked about the girls who used to be in my class with her. All my friends, she called them.
Look, I know that you never thought that boarding school was a good idea.
She obviously needed to talk to somebody, Brian, and I thought you ought to know about it.
Yes, well, we get to the school as often as we can. There's some slight problem of adjustment, but she seems happy enough.
I think a happy child would have forgotten her former teacher by now.
Well, that's a different question. She was very fond of you.
There's a more important question. If she was lonely or insecure, why did she phone me? Why not you or Anne? You're her parents, after all.
Yes, that is worrying. You're quite right. Well, I'll talk to Anne about it and show her your letter, of course. I expect we'll try to visit the school more often.
Yes, I think that would be a good idea.
I don't know whether Anne will want to talk to you about it herself, but if so...
Oh, of course.
Perhaps some evening.
Well, see how she feels. She thinks I can help.
Are you sure I can't offer you something?
No, I must go.
How are you, Pamela?
Oh, I'm all right, thank you. And you?
Oh, fine. Working hard. I still think sometimes about the talks we used to have.
That seems a long time ago.
Yes. Well, thank you for taking so much trouble. It's been nice to see you again.
Goodbye, Brian.
Goodbye, Pamela.
Oh, excuse me, miss. Could you tell me where I can find Mr. Edward Hammond's office?
The inquiries are down there. Do you have an appointment with him?
Yeah, I've got an interview for a driver's job.
Well, just a minute.
Barker's the name.
Is Mr. Barker here to see you?
Who?
Barker.
Oh, yes, I'm expecting him. Show me.
Would you like to come in, Mr. Barker?
Thanks very much. Morning, sir. I telephoned yesterday.
Yes, that's right. Sit down.
Thank you very much. You want to see my licenses?
Yes, thanks.
You know.
How long have you been at this game?
Well, pretty much since I left school. Drove vans as soon as I could get a licence. I've been on the lorries for 15 years. Heavy stuff, mostly.
Who for?
The same firm all the time, Nolan's.
Nolan's? I haven't heard of them.
Nolan's Haulage of Hendon. It's a small firm, only 10 lorries. He's a nice boss, Mr. Nolan. I was sorry to leave.
Why did you?
Well, you see, the wife's mother was taken ill, and, well, we're all the family she's got, and we thought it was best to move in with her. But she lives this side of the river, and travelling to Hendon every day, well, I just couldn't cope. So I thought I'd look for a job near at hand, so I could spend some more time with the kids, you know.
How many have you got?
2, a boy and a girl, both at school.
Have you brought your references with you?
Oh yeah, well, I would have done, you see, but he hasn't sent them on yet. He promised to, but Mr. Nolan's not one for the office work, you know. But you could telephone him if you like. There's his number there. He'll tell you anything you want to know.
Right.
Nolan Haulage. This is Mr. Nolan speaking. Oh, yes, Mr. Hammond, I've heard of you. My girl just popped out of the office and left me to answer the phone. Anyway, what can I do for you? Oh, yes, I was sorry to lose him. Jim Barker was with me for, 15 years. Only left because his mother-in-law thought... Oh, he's told you. Well, what can I say? He's honest, reliable, hard-working, he can drive anything, no trouble with the police, no accidents. I wish I had a few more like him.
Good. No, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir, could I have a word?
Yes, hang on a minute, will you?
What do you think, sir?
Well, you'll have to see our foreman driver, but I suspect that's just a formality. Can you start on Monday?
I could start tomorrow.
No, Monday will do.
Right. Hello, Mr. Nolan. It's Jim Barker here. Oh, well, she's not so bad, you know, but she's glad to have the family round her. How's Mrs. Nolan? Oh, good. Well, give her my regards when you see her, won't you? And Mr. Nolan, thanks for speaking for me. Well, I think it'll be all right. You know, touch wood.
He's in.